Amy Thurman, I'm back again with another 100 Days, 100 Emotions. Today is day 16, and I'm talking about the emotion concern. We don't really think about that as being an emotion, but it is. Like all of the others, we don't understand that a lot of these are actually emotions that we're feeling sometimes on a daily basis, but we don't realize that's what's happening. I usually have a special guest with me, and I had one planned for today, but life happens, things come up, and so you get me today just all by myself. So I get to talk to you about concern today, and I have a story to share with you that is very near and dear to my heart, very close to my heart. It's an emotional story. So buckle in, get ready. Today we're talking about concern. The text that I have for you today says this: Concern can feel like a delicate balance between caring deeply and wanting to take action to alleviate any potential issues. It's important to manage concern so that it doesn't turn into excess worry. Oh my goodness. The story I have for you today is this in a nutshell. Like, oh my goodness. Tell me in the comments, tell me if you have, or if you know what concern feels like. I mean, all of us surely do. We know what it feels like to be concerned about someone else. But when we say the word concern, like, what does that really mean? Does it mean caring about someone? Does it mean worry about what's going to happen to them? And from this definition here, it looks like it's more about caring deeply and wanting to prevent things from occurring. So it's very much caring, but it can extend into worry very, very easily and very, very quickly. So let me move that so that it's out of my way so I can focus in here. I want to share a story with you about a time that I experienced concern. And it's like I said, it's very personal to me. If you know me personally, you know my middle son. His name is Eric. We call him Lige. That's a nickname that he has had since he was a little guy. And so to his family, he's known as Lige, but to the rest of you, he's known as Eric. After he graduated from high school and decided that he wanted to see the world, he went to work in Wyoming. I am in the United States, in Oklahoma. If you can't tell by my accent, it's pretty much in the middle, in the southern middle part of the United States. And so he went to work in Wyoming. He was maybe 20. He was just about to turn 21, I believe. And so went to work in Wyoming as a, what's it called, a wrangler, where he would help train horses. He would take them on trail rides. He would take people on trail rides, show them the beautiful sights that are there in Wyoming. But it's like over 12 hours away. I don't even know how far it is exactly, but it's a long ways away. And you know me with my limitations, my health issues, I live with a broken neck, so I can only sit up for a few hours at a time. So he was gone for the whole summer, and I couldn't go see him because we were so far away. But he was working with horses, and he had one in the pen, working with it, not trying to break it, but just kind of get it to calm down. And something happened that spooked the horse. Y'all, if you know me personally, you probably remember this. It was a couple years ago. Something happened that spooked the horse, and the horse bent down back like this and kind of threw up its whatever front legs, so that Lige sitting on the back was thrown off and into the fence, which is a one of those heavy duty wooden fences. And like the horse backed up and did like this, and so it pinned him between the horse and the wooden fence, and it hit his head. He landed on his head. And so all I know is I was laying in bed taking a nap, and I get this phone call from Lige's dad saying, Lige has been in an accident. What do you know? And I said, I don't know anything. You're the first one that said anything to me. What do you mean he's been in an accident? He said he called me and I couldn't understand what he was saying. And then someone got on the phone and said he's been hurt. And I said, oh my goodness. And so as a mom, that far away, over 12 hours away, I'm just like, I don't know what's happening. I'm going to try to call his phone. So I tried to call Elijah's phone. Of course, he didn't answer. And I just was so, so worried. And so I didn't know what to do. I was, I was worried. This is a story about concern. It's supposed to be about concern, right? At the initially, I was at the worry stage. Like I had no idea what was going on or if he was even okay. And so all I knew is I couldn't get a hold of him. And before he left me the address, his address, so that I can mail him things. And so that's all I had. That's all I had to go by was that address. And so I did my detective skills and I started to look up that address, figure out the name of the place that he was working. I called that number that I found on Google and asked, connect me to someone who knows Eric. And she was like, "Oh, we love him. He's such a great kid." Anyway, from all of that, I was able to get his boss's cell phone number. And so then I called his boss's cell phone. He did not answer. And so I thought, oh my goodness, what's happening? As a mom, imagine being in this situation. Like, I don't know if my kid's even alive right now. If all I know is he's been in an accident. Nobody's answering their phones. This could be horrible. And so it was a couple days before I could get anybody to answer, before I could get any person to talk to me. And so talk about concern. I'll tell you the rest of the story in a minute, but what happened was I went from extreme worry at the initial, like, what is happening, to I couldn't get a hold of anyone. And it allowed me to calm down, which, and some people it may make it worse, whether you just are just frantic with worry. But having that time, I believe I was able to have that time for a reason to kind of settle down, to calm down, because there was nothing I could do. Literally, I could not get there. That was out of the question. I did everything I knew to do to try to find someone to tell me what was happening. That was not working. So literally I had done everything I could do and I was just had to settle in on, okay, it's someone's gonna call, someone's gonna get my messages and they're gonna let me know something. But it kind of calmed down to what I consider concern. That's why I'm sharing this story with you. Because initially that worry was just so overwhelming, but it calmed down into what was concern. And then his boss called and said, "This is what happened. He's in this hospital," and gave me his room number and everything. And so I was able to then call the hospital, talk to his nurse, and found out that he was in ICU. He had been there he was there for 4 days altogether. But Lige ended up calling me the next day, and I could barely understand him. It was very muffled and very like he was just not speaking correctly, but I could barely make out what he was saying. I could tell he was extremely tired. Um, but he said to me, "Dad's number is the only one I that came to my mind." So I called him, and I was like, "Don't worry about that. It's fine." I'm glad he called someone. But that's what he said. That's what his boss told me happened, that the horse pinned him between the fence and the horse, and he had, 2 skull fractures. He had internal bleeding. His face was paralyzed. The whole left side of his face was paralyzed. His eardrum was busted, and he could barely talk. Like, he couldn't move his face at all. That's why I couldn't understand him, because he was trying to talk, but he couldn't move his mouth. And in ICU, like, he when he tells stories of this now, it's so heart-wrenching to me that I couldn't be there for him as his mom. I wanted to so be there, and especially hearing him on the phone try to talk to me in the state that he was in. It's just something I will never ever forget. And he was able to recover from that. He still has some issues with that left ear, but he's able to move his face now. He can smile, he can eat normally without food, falling out of his mouth. But it was quite an ordeal, especially as a mom. It's interesting. I don't know how much he's wants me to share with you about it, but it made a really big impact on him. Like anytime, like with me, coming close to dying, it makes an impact on a person. And so, that is my story to share with you today about concern. But the reason I share that with you is because it can so quickly turn into worry. And we have to be really, really aware of what's happening. We have to recognize what's happening and realize, okay, I'm concerned here. I need to keep it down. I need to really keep it at concern and not let it go to worry, because we know what happens when it goes to worry. Things get out of hand. We don't think clearly. That's what was happening with me at the beginning. We see things that aren't there. We make up stories, all of those things. We'll talk about worry a different day. But as far as concern goes, this definition is exactly what was happening with me. It's I was caring deeply, but I wanted to take action to alleviate the issues. Like I wanted to be there. I'm his mom. I'm supposed to be there. And I just couldn't. So you can imagine the situation that I was in and what I was feeling. But yes, concern. And the main point of this series, the whole reason for doing this series, remember, is to help us figure out what we can learn from these emotions. I want to help um, people understand that it's normal to feel emotions, that it's not taboo, it's not bad, that we have emotions for a reason. They're there to teach us something. And so we need to be willing to feel them and allow us to teach us and allow them to teach us what it is they're here to teach us. So, what can we learn from concern? If you have an idea of what we can learn from concern, please tell me below what you think. Number one, I first of all, first of all, when you feel concern, it's because you care about someone. It's because you care deeply about someone. That can be something that you learn is I didn't realize how deeply I cared for someone until I felt that emotion of concern come over me. And the next is how you can use it to practice not allowing it to go into worry, which is pretty much what all of these emotions help us do, is recognizing it's there, being, I can't find the word. I want to say cognizant, but that's not right. Anyway, y'all know I struggle. My brain struggles to be able to move it in the direction that you want it to move. So I don't want it to move to worry. I want it to either stay at concern or move to a happier place. And so, and there are other things we can learn from concern. I can't think of them right now because my brain's struggling. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's one of those days. Excuse me. Anyway, just telling that story is it's emotion, not only emotional for me, but it sends me to a place that I really have trouble thinking clearly. So that's what's happening in case you're wondering. All right, so let me ask you this. The question I want to address to you today, if you would like to join in this conversation or share this with me, is what have you learned from feeling concern? The feeling concern, what have you learned from it? I told you a couple things that I have learned from it, but I want to know what you learned from it or what you have learned from it, because we're all different. We have different perspectives, we have different experiences, and we can learn from each other. So I want to add this image to the screen. If you have seen these before, you know that I have an AI image generator that I asked to create an image that represents the feeling of whatever the emotion is of the day. Today it's concern. And so this is what it came up with for the feeling of, or for the emotion concern. Let me full screen this so we can take a look at it here. Look at that. There are so many things that hop out at me. I would love to know what you think about this. Analyze this with me. Tell me your thoughts on this image and how you think it relates to the emotion feeling concern. First of all, the first thing I noticed is the muted tones. The others that we have had so far have been very vibrant, very colorful. This one is not. This one is more muted. There are very few, it's like just two or three different shades, different colors of different shades in this one, which I find interesting. I'm also noting that in the background around the sun, there are trees, but you can see they're in the shadows. Like they're not, you can only see the outline of them because they're not clear. We can't see exactly what's happening there. They're in the shadows. And I feel that a lot with concern, that we don't know exactly what's happening sometimes, but we know that we feel deeply or we care deeply for this person or for this situation. And finding out more about it will help prevent it from going into worry. Telling ourselves things that are true, not making up wild stories of things that we don't know to be true, can be very, very helpful to that. And then again, there's a person in the middle. Some of these pictures have people, some of them don't. But at the bottom, you can see there are like what look like roots growing out from the person's feet, which excuse me, I find very interesting about concern, because we know emotions are contagious, right? They have a vibrational frequency, which and they emanate onto each other people, and so that's interesting to me too. If you see something different, please let me know. I love this part. I love being able to see what other people are seeing in these images because my brain struggles in that area. So I need some help with that too. So I would love to know your take on that. And usually at the end here with my special guests, I allow them to share what they do. If you want to contact them, how you can work with them. And so today there's not a special guest, so it's me. So I get to tell you a little bit about me and what I do today. First of all, my website is polishthemirror.com. If you'd like to know more about what it is I do and how I use my experience to help people, a couple things. I offer clean, anti-aging, smudge-proof cosmetics and skincare that are actually good for your skin. Like literally, they don't smudge or smear, like all of them. They stay on up to 18 hours and they're actually good for your skin. Having autoimmune issues, I have to be so careful what I put on my skin. It's my largest organ. So I had to find a company that's clean. And y'all, this is made in Sapulpa, Oklahoma. If you're local to me, it's made at the corporate offices in Sapulpa, Oklahoma, which blows my mind. But I love these people. Oh my goodness, so much. The other thing I offer is I have developed a program which I haven't really shared yet, but I will be sharing more about it. But it's called Your Story in Stages. And basically, I help, just like I did, I help you fight back from being incapacitated. Mine involved a broken neck. Yours might involve having a job that you don't like, or not being able to stand up for yourself, or not being willing to have boundaries, or anything that you feel like incapacitates you in any way in your life. That's what my program is for. Is to help you fight back from being incapacitated. And so if you'd like more information on that, please reach out to me, either comment here, send me a message, or you can send me an email at, I should have typed this in here. Let me type this in here. Here's my email. Oh, there it is. Yeah, I'm a hot mess today. It's okay. If you'd like to know more about that, please send me an email at amy@getamyshelp.com. That's also my website, getamyshelp.com. Lots of fun things on there if you'd like to check that out. Or if any way I can help you, please let me know. Y'all know I have a heart for helping people, and so that's what this series is about, is to help people. So thank you so much for watching and for listening to me ramble on. Tomorrow, my guest also had something come up. So if you would like to talk about, I think it's devastation tomorrow. If you'd like to be my guest tomorrow on devastation, reach out to me. Otherwise, you're going to get me again tomorrow. So I appreciate you all so much. If you have found this helpful, or you think other people will find it helpful, please share so that other people may see it and I can reach and help other people too. So, okay, until tomorrow, I will see you later. Thanks again for watching. Bye.